All right, buckle up, everybody, because today we are diving deep into the minds of two absolute titans of success, Andrew Carnegie and Napoleon Hill.
We got some really interesting source material about their philosophies, and we are going to extract those golden nuggets of wisdom. And yeah, hopefully you can apply them to your own life.
Yeah, these guys, they weren't just successful, they practically wrote the playbook. Carnegie built a steel empire, and then Hill, he spent his life studying the habits of high achievers. And it's amazing how relevant their ideas still are today, even in our fast-paced, tech-driven world.
Yeah, and what I found really fascinating is that their approach isn't all like sunshine and rainbows. They actually talk about harnessing the power of negative emotions, going the extra mile, and, things that really resonated with me.
Yeah, exactly. It's not about, toxic positivity. It's about understanding the full spectrum of human motivation and using it, to your advantage.
Right.
Okay, so let's dive into, I think, the first big idea here, and this is something that kept popping up in the material, the mastermind principle. I'm curious to hear your take on this.
Well, it's all about the power of collaboration. Two heads are better than one, right? But the mastermind principle goes beyond that. It's about finding people who share your vision and working together in a spirit of absolute harmony to achieve something truly remarkable.
Okay, but isn't that easier said than done? I mean, finding the right people and building that level of trust, that takes time and effort.
Oh, absolutely. And that's why one of our sources highlights a pretty startling statistic. 98% of people are content with just a paycheck. They're not actively seeking out opportunities for growth or collaboration.
Wow.
So that means if you're willing to put in the effort to build a mastermind group, you're already ahead of the curve.
That's a really good point. So how can someone leverage this principle to, let's say, build a successful business?
Okay, so let's say you're passionate about launching a new tech startup. Instead of going it alone, imagine assembling a team of brilliant minds. You've got your tech whiz, your marketing guru, a finance expert, each bringing their unique skills to the table.
Oh, it's like assembling your own Justice League of entrepreneurs.
Exactly.
Okay. But how do you motivate these individuals? Is it purely about financial gain?
Well, money is certainly a factor, but the sources we're diving into today suggest that voluntary action, the kind that fuels true success, is driven by a much wider range of motivators.
You mentioned harnessing negative emotions earlier. Can you give us a concrete example of how that works in practice? Did Carnegie or Hill ever use, say, fear or anger as fuel for their success?
Well, think about Carnegie's early days in the steel industry. He was constantly facing fierce competition, often from, much larger, more established companies. Instead of letting fear paralyze him, he used it as fuel to work harder, to innovate faster, to outmaneuver his rivals.
So it's about channeling that energy, that sense of urgency, into productive action.
Yeah.
Okay, so we've got this powerful mastermind group assembled. We're channeling our negative emotions into productive energy. What's the next step? How do we ensure that we're all pulling in the same direction and actually making progress toward our shared goals?
That's where the idea of going the extra mile comes into play. And this isn't just about working longer hours. It's about a mindset, a commitment to exceeding expectations in every aspect of your endeavors.
I can see how that applies to the business world. But can you give an example of how someone might apply this principle to their personal life?
Sure. Think about a parent who's struggling to balance work and family life. Instead of just trying to get through each day, they could apply the extra mile principle by dedicating, 15 minutes each evening to truly connect with their children, to put away their phone and be fully present.
Oh, it's about those small but consistent actions that over time create a significant impact. Yeah. And I can see how this ties back to the mastermind principle. If you're consistently going the extra mile, wouldn't that make you a more valuable and attractive partner in any collaboration?
Absolutely. It signals that you're not just in it for yourself. You're committed to the success of the entire team, the shared vision. And this level of dedication is infectious. It inspires others to step up their game and contribute at a higher level.
So we're not just talking about individual effort here. It's about creating a culture of excellence.
Yeah, a collective commitment to pushing beyond what's expected.
Precisely. And that brings us to another crucial aspect of the success equation, the power of thought.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, this is where I get a little skeptical, okay? I've heard a lot about the power of positive thinking, but isn't that just a bunch of feel-good fluff? How does simply changing our thoughts actually translate into tangible results?
Well, our sources don't advocate for naive optimism. They're talking about something much deeper. The understanding that our thoughts have a direct impact on our actions, our decisions, and ultimately our outcomes.
So it's not about denying negative thoughts or pretending everything is perfect. It's about becoming more aware of our thought patterns and consciously choosing thoughts that empower us rather than limit us.
Exactly. And this takes practice. Our minds are like gardens. If we constantly plant seeds of doubt, fear, and negativity, that's what will grow.
Mhm.
But if we cultivate thoughts of possibility, courage, and determination, those seeds will take root and flourish.
So we're talking about a mental shift, a conscious effort to cultivate a more positive and empowering mindset.
Precisely. And this is where the principle of self-discipline comes in. It's about training our minds to focus on what we want to achieve, to visualize our success, and to persevere even when faced with obstacles.
It's about becoming the master of our own thoughts rather than letting them control us.
Exactly. And this mastery, this ability to direct our thoughts towards our desired outcomes, is a key differentiator between those who achieve lasting success and those who struggle to reach their full potential.
This is all incredibly insightful. But before we get too carried away with the power of positive thinking, let's acknowledge the elephant in the room, failure. No matter how positive our mindset, we're all going to encounter setbacks and disappointments along the way.
Absolutely. And that's where another key principle from our sources comes into play, learning from failure. They don't see failure as the opposite of success, but as a crucial stepping stone on the path to achievement.
So instead of letting setbacks discourage us, we need to view them as opportunities for growth, as valuable lessons that can inform our future actions.
Precisely. And they even suggest techniques for training our subconscious minds to turn failures into motivation.
Oh,
Instead of dwelling on the negative, we can consciously choose to focus on the lessons learned, the insights gained, and use that knowledge to fuel our future efforts.
so it's about reframing our perspective, shifting from a fear of failure to a willingness to embrace it as a necessary part of the growth process.
Exactly. And this shift in perspective, this ability to learn and adapt from our mistakes, is essential for building resilience, for developing the mental fortitude required to navigate the inevitable ups and downs on the road to success.
This is all starting to feel like a pretty powerful formula for success, you know? We're building our mastermind team, channeling our negative emotions, going the extra mile, mastering our thoughts, and even embracing failure as a teacher. But there's still one piece missing: the personal element. Our sources talk a lot about cultivating an attractive personality, and I'm curious to unpack that a bit further.
Yeah, they're not talking about superficial charm here, but rather a set of inner qualities that contribute to success. A positive mental attitude, a pleasant demeanor, flexibility, and a strong sense of justice.
Okay, but don't those qualities vary depending on the situation? I mean, can't you be a brilliant, driven person without being, conventionally charming?
That's a great question. Remember, Carnegie and Hill were writing in a different era.
Yeah, a time when social norms were different. So how do we apply those principles in a way that feels authentic and relevant today?
It's about understanding that while specific behaviors might change, the underlying principles remain timeless. A positive mental attitude, for example, will always be an asset, regardless of your field or your personality.
So it's about cultivating those inner qualities, those core values that attract success, while still staying true to ourselves and our own unique personalities.
Exactly. And that's where self-awareness comes in. It's about understanding our strengths and weaknesses, our values and our motivations, and aligning our actions with our authentic selves. It's interesting how this idea of cultivating an attractive personality ties into another key concept from our sources, and that is focus. It's not enough to just have a great attitude. You need to be able to channel that energy, to direct it towards your goals.
Focus. That ever-elusive beast. It's something I struggle with, especially in our world of constant distractions. Do Carnegie and Hill offer any practical advice on how to cultivate focus?
They do, and it's surprisingly simple yet profound. They emphasize the importance of having a clear, singular objective. It's about identifying what truly matters to you and then relentlessly pursuing it.
Okay, so it's about setting a clear vision and then eliminating distractions. But isn't there a risk of becoming too narrow-minded, too focused on that one goal? What about the importance of being open to new opportunities and ideas?
Yeah, that's a valid concern, and our sources address it by emphasizing the importance of maintaining a balance between focus and flexibility. It's about having a clear destination in mind while remaining open to adjusting your course as needed.
So it's like having a compass that guides you towards your North Star while still allowing you to navigate around unexpected obstacles.
Precisely. And this ability to adapt and adjust is especially crucial in the context of teamwork. Remember the mastermind principle? Well, effective collaboration requires not only individual focus, but also a shared understanding of the team's goals and the ability to adjust individual efforts as needed.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where individual focus aligns with the collective effort, where everyone is pulling in the same direction while still maintaining the flexibility to adapt to changing circumstances.
Exactly. And that brings us to another fascinating aspect of success, and that is harnessing creative energy. Our sources suggest that everyone possesses the potential for creativity, but it often lies dormant, stifled by fear or a lack of belief in our own abilities.
I love that idea. But how do we actually unlock that creative potential? Are there specific techniques or exercises we can use to boost our creativity?
Well, one strategy that comes up repeatedly is cultivating curiosity. It's about approaching life with a sense of wonder, a thirst for knowledge, and a willingness to explore new ideas and experiences.
So it's not just about like brainstorming in a conference room. It's about actively seeking out inspiration in the world around us. But how does that translate into real-world results? I mean, curiosity might spark a great idea, but how do you turn that idea into something tangible?
Well, that's where the principle of action comes in. Our sources emphasize that creativity isn't just about having good ideas. It's about uh, it's about taking those ideas and putting them into action. It's about experimenting, iterating, and refining until you transform inspiration into something real.
It's about that willingness to get our hands dirty, to try things, to fail,
Yeah.
and to learn from those failures. And isn't this where that whole mastermind principle comes back into play? Having a supportive team to bounce ideas off of and to encourage us when we hit roadblocks.
Absolutely. Creativity thrives in a collaborative environment where individuals feel safe to share their ideas, to experiment, and to learn from each other's successes and failures.
hmm This is also inspiring. It really paints a picture of success as a dynamic process, a journey fueled by collaboration, focus, flexibility, and a healthy dose of creative energy.
Yeah.
But I'm curious, how does all this individual and collective striving fit into the bigger picture? What about the impact of our success on the world around us?
That's a great question, and it leads us to one of the most compelling aspects of Carnegie and Hill's philosophies, and that is the importance of giving back.
Okay, so it's not just about achieving personal wealth and recognition. It's about using our success to make a positive impact on others.
Precisely. Both Carnegie and Hill believed that true success involves using your achievements to contribute to the betterment of society.
Hmm.
They saw it as a moral obligation, a way of paying it forward and creating a ripple effect of positive change.
I'm really struck by this idea that success isn't just about what we achieve for ourselves, but about the legacy we leave behind, the impact we have on the world.
Yes, and this idea resonates deeply with the mastermind principle. It's about recognizing that we don't exist in isolation, that our success is interconnected with the well-being of others.
So it's about finding that sweet spot where our passions, our talents, and our desire to make a difference intersect.
Exactly. And that brings us back to the idea of the mastermind principle. When we collaborate with others, when we share our knowledge and resources, we amplify our impact and create something far greater than we could achieve alone.
Yeah, this has been such an inspiring conversation. It really challenges the traditional notion of success as a solitary pursuit and reframes it as a collaborative journey with a higher purpose.
And remember, it's not about waiting until you've made it to start giving back.
Wow.
Even small acts of kindness, generosity, and mentorship can have a profound impact on others.
Speaking of making an impact, I want to circle back to something you mentioned earlier about the importance of rest and recreation. It seems counterintuitive that taking time off would actually contribute to success, but our sources seem to suggest that it's not just about avoiding burnout, but actually a key ingredient in achieving our goals.
Absolutely. They talk about using recreation as a time to recharge, to gain new perspectives, and to tap into creative insights that might not be accessible during our more focused work time.
So it's not just about vegging out on the couch. It's about engaging in activities that stimulate our minds, our bodies, and our spirits.
Precisely. And this can look different for everyone. For some, it might be hiking in nature. For others, it might be attending a concert or reading a thought-provoking book.
hmm
The key is to find activities that nourish you, that help you disconnect from the daily grind, and that allow you to return to your work with renewed energy and enthusiasm.
It's interesting how this all connects back to the theme of balance.
Hmm.
We've talked about balancing focus and flexibility, balancing individual effort and collective achievement, balancing personal goals and a larger purpose. And now we're talking about balancing work and rest. It seems like finding that equilibrium is crucial for sustained success.
I completely agree. Success isn't about any one thing. It's about finding that harmonious integration of all these different elements.
It's about creating a life that feels both fulfilling and impactful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's a journey that's unique to each individual. What matters most is that you're consciously and intentionally creating a life that aligns with your values, your goals, and your definition of success.
I love that. It's about taking ownership of our own journey and making choices that support our well-being and our growth.
And remember, it's not about achieving some mythical state of perfect balance. It's about constantly adjusting, adapting, and striving to create a life that feels authentic and aligned.
Sounds like we're talking about a lifelong process of learning, growing, and refining our approach to success.
Exactly. And one of the most powerful tools we have on this journey is the power of belief.
Okay, so we're back and ready to unpack this whole idea of belief as a driving force for success. And I got to be honest, I'm a little skeptical. It sounds a bit like, The Secret, like just wish for something hard enough and it'll magically appear.
I understand your skepticism, but what we're talking about here is not wishful thinking, but a deep, unwavering conviction in your ability to achieve your goals. It's about understanding the incredible power of your mind to shape your reality.
Okay, I'm intrigued, but I need a little more convincing. Can you give me a concrete example of how this power of belief actually plays out in the real world?
Think about two athletes with equal talent and training. One athlete steps onto the field believing they're destined to win, visualizing every successful move.
Okay.
The other is plagued by self-doubt, worried about making mistakes. Who do you think is more likely to perform at their best?
Well, the one who believes in themselves, of course.
Hey.
But isn't that just confidence? Can you really train yourself to believe in something even if you have doubts?
Absolutely. Our sources emphasize that belief is not something we're born with. It's a skill that can be developed through consistent effort and practice.
Well, it's not about faking it till you make it. It's about actually changing your underlying beliefs.
Exactly. It's about rewiring your thought patterns, replacing limiting beliefs with empowering ones.
Okay, but how do we actually do that? Where do we even begin?
One powerful technique is setting small, achievable goals and celebrating each victory along the way. Every time you achieve something, no matter how small, it reinforces your belief in your own ability to succeed.
So it's about building momentum, creating a positive feedback loop where each win fuels the belief that leads to the next win.
Precisely. And another powerful strategy is surrounding yourself with people who believe in you, who support your dreams, and who challenge you to grow.
It's like creating your own personal mastermind group, a team of cheerleaders who lift you up and remind you of your potential even when you're doubting yourself.
Exactly. And this is where the power of mentorship comes in, finding someone who has achieved what you aspire to and learning from their experiences, their insights, and their unwavering belief in themselves.
As you're talking, I'm realizing that this whole concept of belief ties back to so many of the principles we've discussed today. The mastermind principle, going the extra mile, harnessing your thoughts, embracing failure, cultivating an attractive personality. All of these require a fundamental belief in yourself and your ability to succeed.
I couldn't agree more. Belief is the foundation upon which all other success principles are built. It's the spark that ignites action, the fuel that propels us forward, and the compass that guides us towards our goals.
Wow, this has been such an eye-opening conversation. We started with a simple question about success, and we've uncovered a whole treasure trove of wisdom.
And the most exciting part is that this wisdom is available to anyone who's willing to put in the effort, to embrace these principles, and to cultivate that unwavering belief in their own potential.
So, to our listener, the one who's been with us on this deep dive into the wisdom of success, we leave you with this final thought. The power to achieve your dreams lies within you. It starts with a belief, a spark, a decision to step into your greatness. The journey might not always be easy, but it will be incredibly rewarding. Embrace the principles we've explored today, build your mastermind team, and never stop believing in yourself.